Let's go. Let's go. All right. Listen, guys. Welcome to Dinner with the Coaches and Entrepreneurs. Let me say that. An entrepreneurs dinner with the coaches. Listen, guys. I am your host, Shaan Rais. We have multiple phenomenal coaches within this community, right? And we have a phenomenal staff as well. Junior Frederick is with us, brand development strategist. Today, let me tell you guys something. We got a special edition today. We're doing a spotlight on one of our phenomenal, outstanding, and standing out coaches. Right. So before we bring him on, Junior, is there anything that you'd like to just go over real quick? How did your day go?
Man,
Tell me
let
that.
me
How did
tell
your
you,
day go?
it was all right. It was all right. First of all, good evening to everybody looking. Good evening. Good evening. Um, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good tonight. Feeling super energetic. Creole Day was good, but it wasn't like before. The whole COVID-19 thing
Mm,
kind of messed with the vibes a little bit. But we had
yeah.
we
Couldn't
still
get as
we,
close as
we
you
did our
like
stuff.
to, huh?
Yeah, but we I still went out. But yeah, but it sort of changed it a little bit. It changed it a little bit, but the good thing is once you know how to cook, which I do, I wish my people do, you could have your own stuff at home. That's the
Very
bright
good.
side of it. That's the bright side of it. So,
Very good.
no
Very
complaints
good.
whatsoever. Just blessings. Just blessings.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So let me give a little bit of a backdrop on this, right, guys? So you already know this is the leadership leverage, right? Executive coaching community. That's what this is a community call, right? And what we're going to be doing is highlighting specific coaches that have come through the ranks, that have really came up fast, that came through different programs, different certifications, came with skill sets and just had those tweaked and popped and perfected, right? So when you see a coach, when you see someone here talking about coaching, you can be guaranteed that they are that person. It's no longer about the me, guys. All right. It's about the we. This is progression. This is future paced, and this is community. So, is Mr. Thomas in the building? Thomas Taylor III, are you in the building, sir?
Yes,
Let's see.
sir. Yes, sir.
Here we
I'm
go.
here. I'm here. Yes, sir.
Here we go. Here we
Can you
go.
hear me?
Okay. So yeah, I can hear you. So bring him up. Bring him up with me, Mr. B. Phenomenal DJ EQ, right? Bring up Thomas Taylor III. Listen, brother, let me ask you the first question. What was it about your life that made you want to become a coach?
Well, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Um, that's a good question. In terms of a coach,
Yeah.
I've always had a servant leader's heart, right? So I was coaching before the term coaching was really a popular term
Mm,
because I was always in a position of leadership and leading by an example, right? So that was always something that I had to do probably since I was almost 10 years old. You know what I mean? So it's always been that way. Back in New York, once my mom's husband left, it was just myself and my sisters. And 10 years old, I was making sure that they was good. I was cutting grass. I was chopping down trees. You know what I mean? When you're in New York, you straight survive. You know what I mean? Snow, shoveling snow. So I was always in that position to lead by example as a leader. And then, if you want to call it, put a fancy name, call it a coach. But it was something that was always inside of me. I was born with that ability. It's a gift, and I didn't realize it was a gift till I was around 13 or so. It's kind of funny because the way I process things, I thought that there was something wrong with me, right? Because the cats that I grew up with, they wasn't thinking like I was thinking, you know what I mean? And then I go ahead and I, articulate something to them, and they look at me like I'm talking Chinese arithmetic, man. man. Like they talking about like, what are you talking about? Just because I had a certain way of processing things, but later on as you grow, you realize it's a gift. It's a God-given gift, but you don't realize that when you're young. So my gift has always been able to speak into people's lives, to show them a vision, right? To show them where they could be, to kind of connect the dots for them. I always had that ability. So, the nice name is called a coach. The other name is a servant leader.
Okay. All right. So I heard New York. I gotta give them some premise because I heard New York, and then I also heard chopping trees and mowing lawns. So what part of New York do they chop trees and mow lawns, bro?
Yeah. So when you first cut your teeth, I cut my teeth up in that 116th and Lenox, on Lenox Hill Hospital, right? So Brick City streets.
Know it
Okay.
well.
And then when you kind of move forward, your moms kind of realize that, hey, when you bring your children up in that environment, you know what I mean? You might start with 3 or 4, man. You might end with 1.
Hold on. Was that the east side or the west side? You said 116.
Yeah,
You said Lenox? Did you say Lenox?
Yeah, 116th and Lenox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But my grandmother worked at Lenox. Huh?
King houses? The projects is over there. King
houses,
project.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to give people a backdrop. You the real deal.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's what it was about, man.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
My grandmother worked at Lenox Hill, man. My aunt worked at Harlem Hospital, man. So that's just what it was.
Veteran. Let's go.
But my grandma, being a matriarch, she had the presence of mind to kind of get the young ones out of there. You know what I mean? So at an early age, she built a house out in Long Island and kind of Brentwood, Long Island, and kind of transition us to have an opportunity to have a better quality of life. So when I talk about cutting grass and chopping trees, that was in that, Long Island area, Suffolk County area,
okay,
where you learn different things than you learned in the streets. You know what I mean? Because streets are still the streets. Don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong, right? It's just a different form because the streets is always unforgiving. Streets don't care nothing about you, but you learn to cut your teeth on the street, and then you learn to put on a suit. That's where you kill them, boy. That's where you get them. That's where you get them.
That's where you get them.
That's where you get them.
All right. Moral values and principles learned in the street. Okay, so from east side of Harlem to Long Island, Strong Island, they call it Strong Island.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we got some kind of a backdrop, but I also heard you say father left home or mother's husband left home. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Growing up, my mom's actually wasn't married to my pop. She was married to my older sister's father, and then they got a divorce, and then she had me in between, and then she married my younger brothers and sisters' father at that time. So, when she did that, he was a man of the house, but, that didn't work out. So then he cut. So, I was the next man up, as they say today in sports, but I was the next man up. So even if the cat that left wasn't my actual biological father, he was a man in the house representing his children, Okay. So growing up without a father, it was difficult because not only for me, now, my brothers and sisters don't have a pops either, right? So I'm that dude that's helping them as they mature, making sure, my sister don't get caught up in the streets, my brother don't get caught up in the wrong things, but they have to live their life as well, so my brother went down a certain path and, what I mean? He was taken care of with 3 hots in the cot, my sister, did her thing, wind up with a little one. So, you do as much as you can, what I mean? To kind of prevent that. And I remember one time, a cat had, my sister didn't come home. My younger sister didn't come home. And some cats had rolled up to the crib, man, and dropped her off. Yo, man, I opened the front door, man. Yo, they laugh at me to this day, boy. I was running down the street in my bathrobe and slippers like Denzel trying to get them. I was trying to get them, coach, man. It's a teenager. I was a teenager.
You trying to go get him in your bathrobe, huh?
In my bathrobe and slippers, boy. Oh yeah, they laugh at me to this day, boy. Yeah, only because that was my role, that was my responsibility as a leader, as a protector.
That's right.
As an individual that can help guide them, past the points of pain, because the streets are unforgiving. You know what I mean? So
you said you left at 10. So at 10, you were kind of thrust into the leadership role. At 10, you were kind of thrust into a patriarch role. So you had to grow up fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. Yeah.
So for the listeners out there, right, if you are going through the similar situations, if you grew up fast, if you had to grow up fast, if you grew up in a single family home, if you grew up without a father, I want you to pay attention, right? Pay attention, because when you are looking for a guide, when you're looking for someone who can help you to take you from where you are to where you want to grow, right? You want to find somebody who's been through some of the same things, because you can actually speak the same language. You're not really an alien or an outlier to those individuals, because they've experienced similar circumstances and overcome those similar circumstances. So this is what a coach does. A coach creates bridges and goes from where they were to where they want to be. And then they go back for more. That's what they do. They go back for more, and they help other people cross that same bridge. So, Mr. Thomas, if you don't mind, you said that you were thrust into the patriarch age around 10. You grew up without a father. What was the transition point? Like, you said you were in leadership. So what is the occupational background, if you don't mind? So they can see the leadership and they can see the business acumen. What does that look like?
Yeah, occupation, I wasn't fortunate to go to college based upon those circumstances. So I went to a trade school at that time, Suburban Technical School out in Nassau County. I did technical school because what I knew was I needed something to be able to survive, because I knew the streets wasn't it. So I needed some sort of formal education, if you will, at least to get me started on the right path. Right. So if I was a betting man, I would always be okay with betting on myself, because I know who I am. I know my work ethic. I know how to navigate. So going, to Suburban Tech, getting a technical college degree. And then I started working at Grumman Aerospace. For those who are on Long Island, understand Grumman Aerospace is actually a company that builds jet fighters, right, for the war. Right, F-16s, EAC-2 Hawkeye, J-Stars, right? And I was an intricate part of that at a young age, right? Well, why is that important? Because working at Grumman, it taught me a lot about the actual economy. See, because I had people that was around me that was educating me. So what do I mean by that? Well, in those days, it's something, if you guys are not familiar with a terminology called Reaganomics. Okay, Reaganomics. For those who don't understand what that is, President Reagan, he was big on self-defense, because he wanted to make sure that we were prepared in the case of an attack. So what does that mean? So for me, what that meant was he put a lot of money into the military, right? Therefore, it created a lot of jobs. Right. So being there, I learned a lot about life, about understanding how things move. So once Reaganomics kind of subsided, moved forward, then we kind of, a lot of us moved from that area. We got surplus, we got laid off, but it taught me a lot though. Right. So from there, moving forward, I actually started my own. I had a restaurant with myself and my cousin. Right, we was owning and look at you.
Entrepreneur.
Oh yeah. I was 22.
Business owner from the door. Let's go.
Yeah. We ran a Pancake Cottage, right in Lawrence, right there off of Rockaway Turnpike, on the backside of that wall bounds, right there, Pancake Cottage. Okay. Yeah. So and to be honest with everybody that's listening, that was one of the best times of my life. being an entrepreneur because we were young, right? We were learning business. It was 7 by 24, but the feeling that it gave me of controlling my own. I promised myself, and which is one of the reasons why I'm here today, to be honest with you, is because I promised myself that I would never stop until I got that feeling back of owning my own and controlling my own time. That was the most important thing to me as a young man, right? It was a 24/7 business. We was open 7 days a week, right? We always had cash. We always had money. Money was always flowing, right? But you know, my cousin ran the back of the restaurant. He cooked and ran the back, and I managed the front. I managed the waiters, the bus boys, the servers, the customers. I managed the front of the restaurant, right? So when we had issues with customers, I handled those issues at 22 years of age. You know what I mean? People was coming around us like, they were just, in amazement that, two young African American men actually are in charge of this restaurant. So yeah, so that's kind of really where I kind of got my understanding about business and then entrepreneurship, right? And then from there, I kind of moved into telecom, right? Like kind of the next wave for me. Got a job at Cablevision, moved into telecommunications, and I've been riding that for the last 25 years. Took care of the family, learned a lot.
Okay, okay. So you're in a leadership position, though. You were in a leadership position even when you were working assigned, right? As in someone else's thing. You were still in a leadership position over people, had direct reports, and led them.
Yeah, no question. No question.
Very good, very good.
Yep.
Tell me about the nonprofit piece. Now, I know you said you grew up without a father, and I know that impacted you. How did you go back to try to help them? Go back. Now, I want everybody listening to pay attention, because when you go through something, you grow through something. And then a lot of people get through something and they don't look back. But the greats, right? The greats and the leaders, the people with the servant piece, right? They create the bridge and they get freedom, and then they go back to free others. So when you got through that piece of growing up without a father, tell us about what you created and how you created a bridge to go back and get others.
Yeah. Well, hey, great question, Coach. Thanks for asking.
Yes, sir.
It's a little touchy for me. I hope I get through it. You know what I mean?
Yes, take your time, brother. Take your time. You got time. Take your time. Pace yourself.
Yeah. I spoke about it this morning, and kind of was a little bit broken up on my men's call I had. To be honest with you, growing up without a father didn't start off as growing up as without a father. It's not how it started.
Okay.
The reason why I decided to take that journey was growing up in New York. I actually applied to be a correction officer on Rikers Island. Ooh. Right? Because I had family there. My cousin was assistant deputy warden. Myself and my cousin, we was young. We was trying to get on. So we had put our applications in for Rikers Island.
Okay.
So everything was cool. I passed the psych. I passed all my tests. I was good. I was green lighted. And then I had to find my birth certificate. So I couldn't find my birth certificate. Right. So at that time, my grandma took me downtown. She took me downtown to the, Department of Health, Manhattan, to get a copy of my birth certificate, because I couldn't find mine. Now, why is that significant? Because I want everybody to understand, I grew up as Thomas Searles, not Taylor. I grew up as Thomas Searles, Searles. Searles was my older sister's name. So my mom's was married to my older sister's father. They got a divorce. She kept the name Searles. She had me with my father and gave me Searles.
Okay. Got you.
Right? Yeah. So now I gotta get my birth certificate. So my birth certificate at that time, they don't hand you a birth certificate. They mail it to you. So my birth certificate comes in the mail, and on my birth certificate, it says Thomas Taylor. Searles nowhere on there. Now, at that time, you know, growing up in Harlem, you had two birth certificates, right? You had a birth certificate from the county or the borough, and you had a birth certificate from the hospital. So what I found out was that my father didn't sign the birth certificate in time enough before my mother left the hospital. So she just wrote Searles on it. So I had a birth certificate that said Thomas Searles. That's how she registered me for school.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go. I just need to know. Did you know that your father was not the gentleman with the last name Searles?
Yes, I knew that was my sister's father. Yes,
okay,
I
knew that was your sister's father.
Yeah, I knew that.
But you still had the last name Searles.
Yes, and I knew he wasn't my father though.
Okay. Did you know who your father was?
Nah.
You didn't know?
Nah, no clue. And my mother didn't tell me.
Your mother didn't tell you? Wow. Now, the reason why that resonates for me is because, you know, me and E is close, right? I rock with Eric Thomas. So this is a familiar story. It's kind of hitting home, and it's similar. It's somewhat similar. Now, E thought that the gentleman in his home was his father.
Gotcha.
He wasn't aware of what you were aware of, but you still had the name and you didn't know who the father was. Okay, so bring us back. You get the envelope. Listen, guys, great people have similar backgrounds. I'm just going to say that, right? Similar upbringings, similar upbringing, similar challenges, similar situations. If you can resonate with the story that you're hearing, if you didn't know your father, if you don't know your mother, if you're unsure, if you're just kind of like in between a rock and a hard place, I want you to pay very close attention. So you get the envelope. The envelope says a name that you've never seen before or acquainted with yourself. Yeah. What is your next move? As a matter of fact, hold on. You want to take a break?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good, fam. Nah, I'm good. Right, so
go ahead. Tell us.
Unless we have to. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Tell us what took place. We'll hold the break.
So open the envelope, man, and it's Thomas Taylor, man. Now I'm really messed up because this is the first time I'm really hearing about this Taylor name. Now I'm in my 20s now, everyone, you know what I mean? And now my mom's want to tell me this story about this dude who I have the last name of, man. I'm like, now you want to tell me the story? Now, what's interesting is I'm gonna go back though. I'm gonna go back. When I was 18, I'm gonna go back. When I was 18, actually I needed money for my prom, right? So she calls my father because I grew up Jehovah's Witness and my mom's wasn't with the prom, so she didn't want me to go to the prom, so I needed some money. So she wind up calling my father. So I need to tell that story. I need to tell that story first, because this is when I met him. So fast forward. So she calls his school. So she tell me where he is. Now I'm 18 years of age now. So I go to his job right in Long Island off of Smith Street, of 110, boom, right there, Farmingdale.
Okay.
Boom. Okay. You know where it is. Boom.
Yeah, I know where it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know where it is, Smith Street. Boom. Hey, hey, I'm Thomas. I said, I'm here to see Thomas. This guy comes out and say, hey, how you doing? I say, hey, I'm fine. Now this is my father. I said, I'm 18. This is the first time I'm meeting this dude. Hey, I'm Thomas. Hey, I'm Thomas. Hey,
What was the emotion?
There was none. I'm 18. There was none.
I'm 18.
I'm 18, man. We talked. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I was there with my cousin, who I had the restaurant with. And he said, how you doing? I said, I'm good, about to graduate, but I need some bread for the prom. He gave me a couple of stacks, couple of 100, boom. We got in the Camaro, man. We was out. That was it. I was 18. So it was no emotion, and I write about this in my book about how I had to write to ask Like, yo, where you been? But I left that to my mom's. Left that to my mom's. So now here we are. So now fast forward. So that was my first time I ever met the dude. So now I'm 18. So now I'm in my 20s now. And now this envelope comes back. Thomas Taylor. And now my mom's kind of want to tell me the rest of the story that she ain't really told me before. Right? So
now
I take
a little bit older. You're a little bit more thoughtful. Are you a little bit more thoughtful now? I know when you were little, when you was 18, you wasn't feeling nothing, like a little cold, like a stone. I feel
just a tad bit, fam. Just a tad bit.
Just a tad bit.
Yo, I'm a cat from New York, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
We don't that whole nah.
Emotional piece.
Hey. To a certain degree, you know what I mean. I'm married and I have a daughter, so I've learned how to be emotional.
At that point.
No, I'm talking about now. I'm not talking about now.
Okay, I'm about to say, hold on.
No.
Before you go into that, you got the spot with the Rikers Island piece, right? Are you still at home or are you on your own?
No, I'm still at home. So this is what happens. So okay. I take the paperwork to Rikers Island.
Okay.
And they said, this is an alias. I said, alias who? Like, what are you talking about? They said, all your paperwork has Thomas Searles, but your birth certificate has Thomas Taylor. We can't let you in. We can't.
So you got the opportunity to change your life, level up. What is it, a G3 or something like? I know they pay grade is good.
Yeah. I'm at the door.
I'm at
the door. He said, we can't let you in. So now I got to make a life altering decision. Right.
Stop right there. Hold on for 1 second. Let's go ahead and go to that break. Hold that life changing decision. Hold it. Keep them on the cusp. Keep them on the cusp. Listen, guys, if you're watching this, if you're dialed in, if you got a question, right? If that's you, if you're that person, if you've been through something similar and you have a question, make sure you comment. Make sure we grab that and make sure we get that. So when we come back, we'll be able to answer that. Go ahead, Mr. B. Roll out that commercial, sir. Thank you very much. Oh, this is branded like a leader, fam. This is branded like a leader. This is the program that the phenomenal gentleman that you're listening to came in on, right? This is the 7-week piece, the 8-week training to build your brand, to brand you and not what you do. So this is the piece. This is one of those pivotal pieces, the inaugural course, the first Like a Leader that we did. Branded like a leader. And what do we really do here? You might ask yourself, what do they really do there, right? We do business coaching. We do business coaching. So if you're a speaker, an author, a coach, a blogger, an influencer, or you aspire to be one, this is what we do for a living, not a part-time, not a side gig, not a hustle, not one day out of the week, one day out of the month. This is how we pay bills. This is how we pay bills. This is how we create a legacy, by helping you create a legacy and build your business like a leader. Okay. So now we're back. Now we're back. And I want you to go ahead and pick up on that phenomenal story. So you're going to Rikers Island, you got the gig, I know those are 7 figures. I mean, those are like 70K and better. Yeah. I already know you're young and this joint squeezing your heart. You can't get in. So you're at opportunity's door and you get it slammed in your face.
Yeah.
You're young. I know you're feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, and it allows you to understand how fast you have to pivot when life shows up. Okay, I was always taught that the best thing that you can do is when change happens, adapt fast. Right, that's pivotal. So what I did was, and that kind of the reason why I brought that up was because that really started the journey. So fast forward, so I didn't take the job, right? Now I had to make a decision, right? So I legally did change my name, and now stay with me. On my birth certificate, it has Thomas Taylor. They crossed it out and put Thomas Searles because at that time I legally changed my name to Searles. I had absolutely, positively no reason to keep it Taylor. I met this dude one time and one time only. He had no significance in my life. So I made that decision. I had my girlfriend at the time, which is my current wife, talked to her and my mom's, and we made it. Yeah, I'm 20 something years old. You know what I mean? I've been with my wife for now 35 years.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I was 19 and she was 20. So she been rolling, for decades. Made that decision not to go to Rikers. So this is where the story gets kind of interesting. I made a decision to go to Cablevision. That was 95, 96, somewhere around there. Made a decision to go to Cablevision. Because now I have to put myself in a position to get a job, to be able to take care of myself, those sort of things. I got this young lady, my future wife, all of those things. So coach, so I go to Cablevision and I apply for that job. And at that time, she said, yeah, we want to hire you, but we want to pay you $6 an hour. Ooh. I'm like, ooh. Now I just came from Grumman making money. Myself and my cousin just had a restaurant, Cash was King, and she want to pay me $6. And she said, oh, because you have some experience, we'll give you $6.25.
That was hard. That was a hard one, brother. I already know.
It was one of the toughest decisions in my life. And this is the reason why I'm mentioning it, because I'm gonna move fast through this. So I made that decision with my future wife and my mom's. I made that decision with the intentions of moving fast.
So you took the job?
I took the job at Cablevision in Long Island. Took the job. Started at $6.25, coach. Just cleaning cable boxes in the QC department, learning and watching. Then I connected with one of the managers who hires technicians. Boom. He hired me on as a technician, right? So I go from $6.25 to $8. Mm-hmm. Right?
How long was it?
That was less than a year.
Okay.
I met this brother named Kenny Jones, man, still a good friend of mine. And one thing he told me, he said, hey man, you new here, right? I was like, yeah. He said, don't be here more than a year. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, this, that, the third, boom, 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 boom. I said, okay. And I took that to heart. So from there, then it was a position on the board for this company called Cablevision Lightpath in Long Island. Lightpath. You guys know it very well. Telecommunications. Okay. I said, wow, I applied for that. Boom. I got that. Within a year, I was gone. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I go from $6 to $8. Mm-hmm. So from there, at Lightpath, the minimum salary is $25,000. 25K. So now I'm coming up. So and I'm gonna finish it. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because sometimes in life you have to regress in order to progress.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Go ahead.
We feel that if we ever go backwards, we can never go forwards, and that's not the truth, you guys. Sometimes you got to take a step back to get springboarded to go forward.
A slingshot. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Right?
So boom, I did that. Now we like 96 or so, somewhere around there. Started at 25,000 was that salary. I left New York, coach, in 1999. I moved to Georgia. right? So in 1998, I get to Light Path in 96. 1998, I make the most money in my shop, over 6 figures, over $120,000.
And you just hit 25K. So you went from 25K to more than 100K in how long?
About 2.5 years.
About
3 at the
2.5
max.
years.
3 at the max.
As an employee.
Yes. Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Let me frame this as a question. Was it because you approached your employee position as an entrepreneur?
That's all I know.
It was the entrepreneur mindset.
All day and twice on Sunday. That's all I know. And I continued that mindset. So I moved down here to Georgia, you know, that salary got cut in half. It's cool. I told my wife, and I'm married by that time now. I got married in 95. I told my wife, I said, hey, we're going to make this move. We made the move, come down to Georgia, cut that salary in half. Bam. I said, give me 3 years. I'll be back at 6 figures. 2001, I was back at, I was back at 6 figures.
Go ahead. No problem. Let's go.
Okay. Excuse me. Only because I understood the game, right? And the reason why I'm telling everybody this is because when you understand how to move and how to navigate, the pieces may change, but the game stays the same.
That's right.
The game stays the same. So did that. So that was fine. So now, coach, I'm down here in Georgia, and myself and I got some partners. We always go to Virginia as couples. And what happened was, this thing keeps gnawing on me. Now I was going to New Birth, Bishop Eddie Long's church, and he started talking about lineage. And that started to bother me, man, because I knew the life that I was living in terms of my name, it wasn't right. So I started researching in that book with 66 chapters. What does that mean?
Yes, sir.
So I started researching Abraham and Sarah. And what happened was, when your creator changes your name, something great happens. So I was on a quest, not to find my father. I was on a quest to change my name.
That's right. And it was inside of you.
It was innate, because I know it wasn't right. And like I said before, right will always be right. You can't make a wrong right. Right is always right. So we went to Virginia, met some friends, and I told them the story about, now these are cats I grew up with. That Searles wasn't my name. They was flawed. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, hey man, this is the deal. So I gave him the story, and it was just one brother, his brother Steve Williams. He worked at a particular area in New York. And when we was coming home, we was driving home with my wife. I told my wife, I said, Steve is going to find my father. She said, Thomas, how do you know that? I said, babe, I'm telling you, man. I said, I can feel it. She said, why you say that? I said, because one thing you got to understand about men, if another man can help another man who's going through the same pain, they will do all they can. So ultimately, I found my father's social security number. I gave it to Steve. He found my father. Wow. He called me one Friday. It was March 13th on a Friday. Found my father was in Orangeburg, South Carolina. This is 2005 time frame.
Oh, so you see him when you're 18, you see him in New York.
Yeah.
And
20
now
years
you're
later.
in Georgia.
20 years later.
20
I'm
years
38
later, you're
now.
in Georgia, and he in South Carolina.
He's South Carolina, man. Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Now, how did you feel 20 years later? Tell me about that.
I called him. I said, hey, this is. I called him up, man. He answered the phone. I said, hey, hello, this is Thomas. He said, hello. He said, who's this? I told him who I was. He said, nah, I don't know you. I said, yeah, I figured you would say that. And I said, you remember a young lady named Renita, which is my mom's name? It's quiet. He's like, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm her son.
Wow.
You know, it was quiet. I just told him, hey, I'm good. I'm alive. Got a wife. I got 2 children. I'm doing well. I'm in Georgia. So I wound up taking my family out there to meet them. Met my grandfather for the first time, man. Aunts, uncles. I got 2 sisters and a brother on my father's side. So then, coach, this is kind of where it gets interesting. Now, I found out that my father is a junior. My father's name was Thomas Taylor Jr. My grandfather's name was Thomas Taylor. So when he passed away, come on now. Come on now. I'm telling you the story. I'm telling you the story. I'm telling you the story.
Maybe I take my stuff over here. Go ahead.
I'm telling you the story. I'm telling you the story. So when I connected with him from a spiritual sense, that was from a spiritual nature, right? I really dug deep about lineage and understanding it, right? So my grandfather actually passed away when President Obama actually got inaugurated the first time, like in that 08 time frame. So I had to go to his funeral instead of going to DC, when Obama was got inaugurated. So boom, went to his funeral, met a lot of different people, but it was very, very significant for me. So now I'm changing my name. So I physically changed my name to Thomas Taylor III. Why? Because that was my birthright. He says, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand lineage. That was my birthright. But when my mother decided to change it, she changed the course of history. So she thought.
Let's go.
But I went introspective. Like today, this morning on my Facebook Live, I talked about vision. I went inside. And what came out of that was Thomas Taylor III. Why? Because I'm born in 67, right? January. Right. I have a brother born in February 67, right? But I was the firstborn. I'm Thomas and he's Tyrone.
Now this is your father's son.
It's my father's son.
Okay. I'm doing the math. I'm like, nope.
On my father's side. This is on my father's side.
Yes,
I was his firstborn, so he named me Thomas. In January, February, it's my birthright. Understand what I'm saying? So you got to understand why this is so deep for me. So fast forward. So I'm good, Coach. 2005, go in front of the judge. Your Honor. He said, what are you here for? To change my name. He said, why is that? Because the name that I was given, Your Honor, did not belong to me. And I want to set the record straight. He said, approved. So I legally changed myself and my family's name to Thomas Taylor III. Why is that significant? Because God said to me, I can't find any person at 38 years of age that would do this. Now, mind you, I'm 38. I'm not 18. I'm 38 and I'm changing my entire family's name. But he said to me, if you do, I have your destiny laid out for you and you ought to write a book about it. And it's to be called There's Power in the Name. Wow. So now I'm okay with that, Coach. So fast forward, I'm driving down 85, and now the Holy Spirit is messing with me. Now for this is 2006, 2007. Now I'm 2012. Fast forward 2012, right? That's from 2005. So 7 years. So 7 years span. Driving down 85, and I'm trying to come up with something fancy, what to call it. And I got convicted, Coach. The Holy Spirit dropped on me. Said, why are you trying to camouflage something that I gave you? It's to be called growing up without a father. To help 2 types of people. One, those who grew up without a father and can understand, and those who know somebody who grew up without a father. I said, but I'm good.
I'm sorry. I got to say something. I just read today where someone shared the story of Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Okay.
I just saw today where someone shared the story of Beyonce and Jay-Z. Beyonce was out. She was out. She was done. She was gone. That was the whole lemonade stuff. I think it was around the lemonade
Yeah,
time. He's
yeah,
gone.
blue eyes, blonde
And
hair.
you know, Jay is like, he from the hood. Like he could care less. He from the hood, right? So he could care less. But watch this, because of the family piece, because he grew up without his father. So because of the family piece, at the last moment when all the bravado was done, like, so what? Get out. At that moment, she was on the door, broke down like a baby and cried.
Yeah, man.
Jay-Z broke down like a baby and cried. So the story goes. He broke down like a baby and cried and begged her to forgive him.
Yeah.
If, now she knew she wouldn't, but he said, if and with me going to consult or counseling. He went to counseling to consult with prior trauma, PTSD. Demons from way back when he was growing up without a father.
Real talk.
And what he learned as a survival mechanism, a defense mechanism, and a survival mechanism that he learned in Brooklyn that he carried with him all the way up until that pivotal point. So go ahead, pick it up right there. I just wanted to show the world, like, if you don't understand, please try to, because from the smallest to the greatest of us, great people share similar backgrounds. Go right ahead, pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so I'm answering your question, you know, like kind of why did I go back and give back? Like it wasn't me, Coach, to be honest with you, because I felt that I was good because I did what I was supposed to do, which was take care of my family. But what I realized was he gave me a bigger mantle, right? He gave me something that he wanted me to help his children. See, that's a different cause. So when I created my whole website, I had people from all over the world put their stories on my website. I'm talking about from China, South Africa, Afghanistan, Denmark, New Zealand, Japan, just all over the world dealing with the same issues, because it's something that society doesn't talk about, but it's the fundamental foundation of what's going on. So he put that on me to say, hey, whoa, I gave you something for a reason. Right now, it was a lot of pain and it was a lot of hurt and there's a lot of trauma kind of going through, but I'm constantly reminded, everyone, of why I do what I do, and it's not for me. It's not for me, and that's why he's given me the ability to be a visionary coach, right? Because I have the ability to connect dots where most people don't realize how important their past is connected to their future, but it doesn't have to be in the way that they think it is, because there's another way, there's another method. So for me, ultimately, he allows me to go through what I've went through, the hurt, the pain. I was on a call this morning crying and shedding tears because I talked about forgiveness with my father. When I had to go see him, you know, here it is, this man didn't care nothing about me, and I had to go and take care of him. Coach, it was one of the toughest things that I did in my life. When I left that facility, I cried like a baby. Like, why? And God just showed me that I wanted you to understand what that pain feels like. So when you're dealing with my people, you can be authentic, you could be true, because you know what it feels like. I didn't read this in a book. I didn't read somebody else's story. This is what I went through. But the significant part of it is I went through it for a reason.
That's right.
So that's why I'm kind of slowing down a little bit, and I'm getting back focused on those things. I have to finish my book, Coach. I have to get my website up. Right? There's certain things that I have to do because I know he told me. Everything else is cool, but this stuff
is what it is.
Oh yeah. It came long before I met Shaan Rais. See, long before, because it's in me, because he's given me something specific that I have to do. Because what he told me is, I didn't put inside of you, Thomas, what I put inside everybody else. I put inside of you something special, something different, right? Your words are different when you articulate. How you relate to people is different than anybody else in this world. So what I have for you is different and it's special. But again, what he has for me is not only for me, right? So I keep pushing through to get out of my own way. I keep pushing to get out of my own way. I keep moving to get out of my own way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To help the people. That's what it's about, Coach. If it's not about that, don't call me. Don't call me. Because it has to be about.
Yeah, I heard what he said. If it's not about
people.
that, don't call him. But if it is about that,
Nah.
if it is about that, then go ahead and give that man a call. Go ahead and give that man a call, right? If you've grown up without a father and you're trying to be a father and you're trying to be a better man, right? So let's go into that. Let's go into the coaching piece, because I know that you co-coach now. Watch this. I know that you have begun to co-coach with your wife.
Yeah.
Now talk about that. Talk a little bit about what that dynamic is like, what that looks like. Let's get into the services piece. Let's get into the service piece. Now we're gonna go a little bit older. We probably gonna be about an hour and 20, hour and 30, and that's perfectly fine, because you got a deeper story than most, right? And I want to speak a little bit about how you came to the brand, like how you came to the brand, what you've been through while you've been here, and how you've cultivated that piece, like how you've cultivated your mission and brought it further. And then I want to talk specifically about the services that you have for the people.
Okay.
All right.
Well, where you want to start first,
brother? So you said when you stopped, you said you were at 2012, 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
The foundation.
Yeah, started the foundation, created that was going good. Then I got to a pivotal point where I had to take care of my children, because my kids was growing up. My son was heavy into basketball. He wound up getting a scholarship to play ball at Auburn Montgomery, D2 scholarship. Right. Then a baby girl came right behind him. She got a track scholarship to run, track that she loved at Birmingham Southern.
I have to ask you a question. I have to ask a question. What's your son's name?
Man, I missed the ball on that. My son's name is Darian.
Oh, you missed the ball.
I missed the ball, man. I missed the ball. So coming through, my wife actually, I promise you, I give all the credit. She actually wanted me to name him Thomas. Wow. But because of all the trauma that I was going through, I didn't want to put that on him. Yeah. Like this is before all that, and we talk about it now. Like if my head was clearer, right, I would have named him, Thomas Searles the Fourth. You know what I mean? Yeah, I would have, because I should have, but I missed that because I was just so caught. You know what I mean? I wanted to give him his own identity. Yes, you know what I mean? But it fits him. It fits him though. Darian Taylor. Yeah, Lydell Taylor. I actually named him after one of my good friends, Preston White. You know what I mean? So, yes. So ultimately, when I kind of made sure I had to take care of him, I kind of fell back on the whole, nonprofit piece, right? So then I realized that I have to get back to what I know he called me to do.
That's right.
So I meditated and I prayed. And then I wound up connecting with Shaan Rais. And what he told me was that Shaan has something to pull out of me, because I know that I have greatness inside of me. But what I realized is every good leader at a certain point in time knows how to be a good follower. And if Shaan Rais is the person I need to follow at this moment in time, then I'm willing to make the investment to do what it takes to get out of me what I know is inside of me. That's where the Brandon Like a Leader, the Shaan Rais piece came from, because you were doing something in the marketplace, and it was a kindred spirit that I connected to, that I felt that you can pull and bring me. This before I knew you was from Harlem and all that. It was just something that I felt that you can pull out of me what God already placed inside of me.
Yes, sir.
That's why I decided to go ahead and connect to the Shaan Rais, Brandon Like a Leader, that wagon to pull that out of me, right? And I give you credit, give you homage, because my presence, my white shirt, purple tie, came out of the whole the Brandon Like a Leader course, but it really came out of just following your lead. I didn't even know that was a part inside of the actual program,
You did
right?
it before. I know.
I did it before because I'm a kid from Harlem, and I sit back and I watch. You ain't gotta tell me nothing. I just watch, and that's what I saw. You know what I mean? I saw emulation, cut all my facial hair off because I studied that. Just emulation.
Came with little goatee, little.
Yeah. It was
Let's go.
different. It was different,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So
Yes,
again,
sir.
so back to the relationship piece. So myself and my wife, we have counseled couples for years, right? We were marriage counselors at New Birth. We did that for years. So counseling and helping was never an issue. And then again, I was a certified coach even before I came to the program. And
That's
then
right.
she became a certified coach as well. Right. So we was already certified, but we just didn't move it into the business aspect. Like we didn't move it into the client. We help people. We help
That's
people all
right.
the time.
That's right.
But we didn't put framework around it in terms of an actual business. So even before, I even got involved in a program, we decided, to start a company, tailor your dreams. We did,
That's right.
so by the time I connected with you, I was already down the block because we said, okay, this is where God is moving us because we have the ability to help people as a couple. So we've had clients, married couples who needed help navigating their relationship, man. So yeah, that piece is dynamic. We just talked about it a little while ago. What we're gonna do in January, because she's finishing up her book, I'm finishing up my book. So we just agreed to some stuff upstairs. Like, okay,
Come on.
okay.
Let's
She's
go.
like, all right, let's go.
Let me just first thank you, for trusting me, trusting you enough to trust me, right? It means
Mhm.
everything. It means everything. And I hope you guys are paying attention to the power that is coaching. Number one, if you don't get anything else from this, I hope you understand the power that is coaching. Not about Harlem,
Mhm.
but I'm from Harlem too. Not about growing up without a father, but I grew up without a father too, right? And we different. You cut from a different cloth when that's your story. You just cut from a different cloth. So listen, whatever you're going through, whatever you've been through, whatever's touched you, whatever's twisted you, whatever's hurt you, there is salvation inside of you and outside of you. And coaching can be pivotal in that dynamic. Don't discount it. Listen, as a people, we don't really do counseling like that. We don't do couches. We do coaches. We don't really
Mhm.
smile too highly upon the acceptance of the mental health piece. I'm so glad that people are now coming around to being a little more comfortable with talking about it. But I counseled mental health, juvenile offense, antisocial back in the 90s, like you was talking about. That's what I did back in the
Mhm.
90s. It's evolved now, though. It's evolved now, though. Those same people that were
Yeah.
confused and hurt and emotionally distraught and kind of cold and apathetic, they've become mature. Those children became fathers.
Mhm.
Those fathers became husbands. And those husbands and fathers have become business owners and champions.
Yeah.
And you're looking at two of them. And I'm just happy to be next to one of them,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Same
happy
here.
to play a part. I'm happy to play a part. And he's happy to play a part. So listen, everybody's not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm perfectly fine with that. You understand? If you see something in this brother next to me, let me make sure I'm pointing the right way. If you see something in this brother next to me, right? Holla at him because I can vouch for his credibility and his character. I can vouch for him. We haven't worked together for 2 weeks or 2 months. Okay, we're going on 2 years. Quality of character hasn't hit a deficit, hasn't hit a bump. Consistency, discipline, morale, MVPs, the same things that we teach and talk about all day. Speak about the vision piece. So we went through the story, we went through the origin background story, we went through the nonprofit, the 501c3, we've been through the couples marriage coaching, counseling piece, we went through the ecology, how you came through the brand. Talk about the vision coach. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, the vision part of it, again, it started when I was 13, because I didn't realize, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, anytime you talk about something that's outside of that, they kind of attribute it to whether it be witchcraft or, you know, different things that are not on a positive side. So it's not something that you really can, as a young boy, articulate. You really can't talk about it. You know what I mean? But it was so bad for myself. I was actually going to ask my mom to take me to the doctor, because I saw things differently from a young age, right? Like I saw the ending of things, and I saw how things can play out just based upon different synopses. So fast forward now, I'm getting deeper into the word, understanding that, you know, how spirit moves and things of that nature. So then I realized, Coach, like, I don't move unless the spirit moves me. That's how I function. That's how I function.
Couple times.
Yeah. So now, how can you do that if you can't visualize what it means? Because that's just like driving a car and taking your hands off the steering wheel and be confident that it's going to stay on the road. So now, when I got into the brand at like a, you know, leader community, you and I had a lot of conversations, and me articulating this, we was able to kind of put a name to something that I already was.
Yes, sir.
So because I have the ability to speak into people's lives and just stretch their view, their vision.
I heard it. When you spoke on it, I heard it. I knew what it was. As soon as you said it and you started speaking, I was watching you work with people, because you started going live, and I'm listening and I'm seeing what you're doing. And I'm like, nah, that's different. That's something different.
Yeah.
And we put a name to it.
Yeah.
We put a name to it. So go ahead.
Yeah. Because people are smart. But one thing about individuals is that people want to be spoken to where they are. And that's the art of communication. Communication, you have to meet people where they are and then stretch them to another level. So the vision piece for me is important, because what I do is I take what people tell me, like the information, and I stretch their thinking past their point of reality. Well, why is that important? Because vision has nothing to do with sight. So if you close your eyes and if you can't see where you're going, you're not going anywhere. So let me help you paint a picture of what it looks like. Now you can actually see yourself in the frame. So I've done it for people, you know, for decades. Now I do it for my clients, right? The clients that I have, right? I take them from where they are and I stretch them just slowly, right? Well, why is that important? Because people are naturally resistant to change. Okay, so if you know that, this is what I do. I first stretch their mind before they move. I'm going to say that again, because most people don't move until they can see where they're going. Why is that important?
They
freeze, right? So what does most people do when they get in their car? If they're going somewhere, they set their GPS. They set their GPS on where they're going, especially if they've never been there before. Before they leave the garage, they set their GPS. So what is our GPS? It's your mind. Your mind is your GPS, right? So I help people set their GPS past their point of pain, right? Because when you talk about change, sometimes it's painful.
That's right.
If you can get past the pain from a mental aspect, when it physically happens, you're prepared for it. You brace for impact. Because your mind is telling you that we're going. Why does your mind tell you that? Because it makes sense. It's something that you never heard before, but you can feel it. So it's a feeling, right? People don't move until they feel right, until they feel good. They don't move.
Emotion. That's right. It's the emotion.
That's a part of it.
That's right. The
feeling.
That's the feeling. Logic won't help people to move. I say it all the time. We teaching it in closing like a leader. Logic won't help people to move. It's the feeling that helps people to move.
Yeah. So inside of that, I'm moving real heavy into that space because again, I as Thomas Hiller Durr, I don't take credit for it. Right? It's all given to me by my creator. But he's allowing me to be a steward over what he has given me and to use it in the right vein to help his people. Most people are stuck in a place because once they realize, guess what? Nobody's coming to help you. They don't know how to move. It's not that they want to stay where they are. No, that's not the case. Right? People like forward movement, but they're not sure. Right? I had a client that, of mine, and I was able to help her move from where she thought she could never be to the point now she's in a position to accept a job that's $20,000 more. Right? All based upon me stretching her, and then supporting. Right? Well, so why is that important? So for me, a part of the key of success is supporting individuals. Why? If you tell somebody, hey, Thomas, I want you to go through that brick wall right there. I might say, okay, coach, this sounds good, but I'm not so sure. But if you tell me, hey, I'm gonna have a couple people behind you to go through that brick wall, I'm like, all right, cool, coach, let's go. And you hit right through it, right? Because it's that support. And sometimes in society, we lack that support. And that's what a coach does. A coach helps you and supports you through tough areas that you feel like you can't complete or you can't accomplish yourself.
Let's go.
But the pull is the vision.
That's right.
You got to stay focused.
You can't get it if you can't see it.
On the vision, yeah.
You can't get it if you can't see it. We're going to go to one more break, and then when we come back, we've already got some questions from the chat. So get ready to answer some questions when we come back. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. B. Let's go. Listen, guys, if you want to know how this whole thing happens, like how you fix your face in branding, how you fix your offers in branding, how you put together your framework, what does it really look like? How do you take what's in your head and what's in your heart and bring it to the marketplace and then charge an optimal fee for it and then actually lead with that fee? How do you put it together? How do you make it comprehensive? How do you make it sound good, look good, and actually be good? Be the brand. Brand you and not what you do. That's what we teach. And branded like a leader. And everything you've heard tonight, everything that you've seen tonight comes through that vein, that business coaching vein. So if you're looking for a coach to help you take your ideas and your lived experience from your head and from your heart and put it into your hand and bring it to the marketplace. You're already halfway there. You might be 3/4 there. You just need a business coach to help you get that last quarter straight. And the money comes after the last quarter. We're in the 4th quarter right now. You're in the best time to make a decision that'll make the rest of your life the best of your life. Okay, so listen, I know we got some questions. Listen, guys, if you're out there, just give it up for Mr. T real quick. Coach Thomas Taylor III, he bared a lot of his soul. You know, he bared a lot of his soul. He told a lot of stories that you are dealing with now. I already know it, right? I don't have to ask a question. This is the common question. And let me just speak on what we don't see. What we don't see, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Is 2 black men speaking like this. That's what we don't see. When it comes to business, when it comes to being, growing up without a father and turning the tables on what society's expectations is, they don't expect to hear about people getting accepted for a job at Rikers, right? They'd more likely hear someone just came home from Rikers, right? Man. Or someone just died in Rikers, right? They'd rather, like, that's more commonality when you don't usually see black men clean and, taped up and lined up and, shining like we do, crisp and clean, the way we're supposed to be, right? So forget the stereotype. That's another thing that we're here to break, the social narrative. The social narrative. There's a lot of things going on right now. There's coaching, there's branding, there's business, there's leadership. There's also social justice taking place.
Yes, sir.
Also social justice taking place. And the breaking of that narrative, that deficit narrative when it comes to the black family unit, because that's another thing that we spoke to. That morals, values, and principles piece. The black family unit, right? The head of the home. The head of the home. Okay, so let me get some questions in here. Junior, are you still there? I know you got some questions. I think Bobby asked a couple questions. Mr. B, if anyone else is asking questions, put them in the chat or come on yourself. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes. Was it hard to forget your family, your mom and dad?
I'm gonna leave it alone.
It was different, Bobby. Was it hard to forgive your family, mom and dad? I had a conversation with my father and I told him, as a father, and what I told him was, I understand why he had to make that decision. And I told him 99.9 men will make the same decision. And what that decision is, my pops was married with a family in Brooklyn. He was with my mom's on Long Island. Well, my mom's got pregnant. Well, guess what? That's not supposed to be in the deal. So now as a father, what do? Right? 99.9 men, they're going to stay with their wife and kids because they're going to realize that the young lady will be okay. And I said to him, I understand as a man why you made that choice. But I said, I also understand as a man and as a father, you did not get one good night rest. You know why? Because there's no way on God's green earth that you can sleep well knowing that you got a seed out there that you didn't tend to. And he said, yeah, you right. He said, you right. So the forgiveness piece, Bobby, it was something that I had to do. And for my moms, you know what I mean? Moms is moms, you know what I mean? So moms is moms. When I get back to New York, I might go next month. We'll have another conversation, a second conversation about some information. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Any more questions? Any more questions out there for Mr. Thomas Taylor III, vision coach? Any more questions out there? Throw them up or put them in the chat, guys. Listen, if that's your problem, right? If that's your gap, if your gap is getting that vision piece, that's present now, right here. So reach out, comment below, DM somebody. Let somebody know what you're going through so that we can prescribe the right remedy. You got the right people on the call. Go right ahead, sir. I see
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah. How did it feel to be so close and not be able to walk in? Um, it was kind of a blow, right? It was a blow, but when you grow up in New York, you're kind of used to blows, so you move and you pivot fast, right? You don't stay there, you don't sulk in it, you don't get too upset because you have to make a decision, Bobby. You gotta move, and you gotta move fast, right? Because at an early age, again, I wasn't religious, even though I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. I was spiritual, Bobby, and that's a difference. There's a difference between being religious and spiritual. And I knew if I didn't get that particular job or that angle, it just wasn't for me, and I was okay with that.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be one more. Oh, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question so that we can get that out. And then I think it's 8:17. We'll probably close at 8:30. But let me ask you a question. When someone wants to work with you, how do they reach you? How do they get at you? Like, how do they hit you directly? What's that look like?
Yeah, yep. Right now, they can reach me via Instagram at Thomas Taylor the Third. I have a YouTube channel, Thomas Taylor the Third. That's Tailor Your Dreams. Working on the website, it's going to be tailoryourdreams.com, or email address tyd@tailoryourdreams.com. Right. When I got involved in the Brandon Like a Leader, we had a section in there talked about putting the world on notice. Right. So we did a whole session on Googling our name. Right. And this was months ago, everybody. And I Googled Thomas Taylor III. And Coach showed us, hey, if you really want to know where you are in the internet streets, Google your name. And I Googled my name, and I didn't come up. Other Thomas Taylor III came up. I don't know what page I was on.
That's right.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was an exercise that we did, right? So now if you Google Thomas Taylor III, I'm one of the top one through three. It's one cat out there who's over me because he does a lot on LinkedIn. And that's my next move to kind of still
hit that too.
I'm gonna hit that too, but I'm out there. I'm out there.
You're gonna take that too. We coming for that. Put him on notice. Thomas Taylor III, the other one, we on your neck. Like, it's coming. It's coming. Listen, guys, if you want to, again, take your idea, take your lived experience, take the confusion, kind of make it cohesive. Take it out of your head, take it out of your heart, put it in the hand, and bring it to the marketplace. This is where that happens. This is where that happens. The brother next to me is killing the game. He's going to be killing the game even more. Again, this has been an endorsement. Completely endorse him 100%. You are in good hands with Allstate. Straight up. This is what we do. This is how we get it. Right. So if you're that person and you've been through some things, and I know we know what you've been through because we have a shared experience, just, humble yourself, because that's one of the steps that you have to do. That's one of the steps that you have to make. You heard what he said. He said he had to accept the fact that at this moment, it could help him to be number two to become number one. That's what this is. I've done it multiple times. I had to learn how to write the book. I'm in school now. I'm in a double doctorate now. Before that, I was in a double master's. Before that, I had to go to school for the bachelor's. Before that, I had to go to school for the associates. You understand? So don't think that the greatest teacher was not once the greatest student. If you want to become the greatest teacher, you must go through that passageway of being the greatest student. You want to be the greatest coach, the greatest speaker. You have to be the greatest student of coaching and the greatest student of speaking. Guys, I thank you so much for tuning in today. I know it's been a long session. I greatly appreciate your time, Thomas. Brother, I'm looking forward to year 5 and book 5. Yeah. Right? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when we do this call again in a year, 2 years, And then we segue to another whole screen with 20 of your clients, 40 of your clients on another Zoom call. Married couples that have stayed together and stopped divorce. That's what I'm looking for. You know, you understand, brother? Like it's bigger than us. It's about legacy, and that's what people don't understand. They come in this coaching thing to hurry up and get a quick lick and some fast money. And I hope you've been paying attention to what this brother had said, and I hope you've been paying attention to this call, because we don't put the money before the meaningfulness. The money gonna come. We don't put the income before the impact. The income is going to come. Listen, if you do it right, the revenue going to come. But you got to do it right first. You got to put the first things first, and the people are first, not the profit. That's where a lot of people get it mixed up. They looking for the money. They hear the numbers. They see the cars, and they see, you know, the business, and they like, oh, I need to get in this real quick. No. If you heard them speak 2012, 2013, 10 years old, this isn't something that you get in quick. Or if you try to get in quick, you're going to get out quick. Because this is for sustainable people who want sustainable business. Servant leadership is not a hustle. It's not a hustle. It's not a game. It's not a game. People are hurting out there. People are hurting for real. And people are going through real life issues. And they need those real life issues fixed. So let me say this, right? Before we get to business development, we got to go through personal, professional, and character development. That's where people get it twisted. They want to come in and get the business right. But let me tell you this, if there's something wrong with your business, there's something wrong with the personal development, the professional development, and the character development. Get the personal, the professional, and the character right, and your business won't have any problems.
Yeah. And I learned that piece growing up in New York because, you know, I was in, you know, multi-level marketing companies. And the most important and the best thing that I've learned was personal development. I've always been a student of personal development. I mean, from Les Brown, Jim Rohn, you know, Ryan Tracy, like all those guys. I followed Les, you know, way back when he was in New York, when he was married to Gladys Knight. You know what I mean?
They don't even know that. They don't even know that, Les.
Man. I mean, it's years and years and years ago. So for me, you know, I always worked on myself because I remember one thing in personal development. It was an Italian brother. He said he was at the board, and that was the time when they did market circles and presentation like that. And he said, Thomas, he said, the man with the marker makes the most money. Right. And so that was important because in order to be the person with the marker, he also talked about that your organization can never grow past you.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm glad you said that.
I'm telling you what I know. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Your organization cannot grow past you. So I always became a student of personal development. Anytime something happens in my life, the first place I go is the mirror.
Say that again. You got it.
I'm telling you, anytime something happens in my life, the first place I look at is the mirror. And I ask myself, what could I have done differently? It's tough. It's hard, but that's where I start. I don't start with the external piece. I start with the internal piece because maybe there's something for me to learn through that. You know what I mean? And that's real important to me. You know, and for me, I'll be remiss not to even talk about, you know, dealing with the coach, because that's how we ultimately got here, right? There was a transition, myself and Nadira, you know, God gave us something, we created dealing with the coaches, which is why we actually have this platform, you know, and if we have to move from that's cool, but I'm remiss not to say that because it's still a part of my story though. Right. It's very important for those that are listening to understand that and don't think that is all the way to the side, because it's not, because I'm a man of integrity. You guys know how I get down. I don't play all that back and soft stuff. You know, I told Coach that it is the situation where, you know, right will always be right. You know what I mean? And we're here because we created a platform called Dealing with the Coaches. So I'm on it. I'm on it. You know what I mean? I'm honored to serve.
We had to bring you to the forefront and just shine the light where it needed to be shined.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's what we about, right? It's not all about one person. It's not all about the
Yeah.
man. It's about
Yep.
the brand. It's not about the man. Let me say it again. It's not about the man. It's about the brand and the phenomenal people that make it possible. Let's grow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll see you
Amen.
next week.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve.